you ever wondered what causes negative thinking? Or maybe thought if I had some examples of changing negative to positive, then I'd know better what to do for myself. If this sounds like you and you are eager to overcome a negative attitude and want to learn how to stop anxiety fast, then stay to the end to learn a tool that I use with my own counseling and coaching clients to help them take ownership over their thoughts. So, first off, what causes negative thinking? So, one thing that can cause negative thinking is if we have been labeled with something in the past, either by ourselves or by somebody else. I see a lot of trauma victims who come to me and they've been called a certain thing for a really long time, and it's become an internalized belief due to that trauma continuing to be at the forefront of their mind. So it may be due to trauma. It may also be due to kind of fears that we have. And so sometimes we can catastrophize things. So we may fear being socially awkward. And so then we develop more of social awkwardness because we're afraid of it. And we're afraid of looking insecure or weak. Or struggling in some way, and that may be connected to deeper thoughts that we could address in counseling or coaching. But nonetheless, catastrophizing can be a cause of negative thinking. Either way, now is the time to reclaim that self-confidence, reclaim a healthier label for yourself. So how do we do that? Well, first off, one thing that's going to help us is to accept that our thoughts are our thoughts, and that no thought is necessarily good or bad. It does not define us, it doesn't define who we are. It can just be a thought. It can just be a passing thought. The more that we start to accept, oh, well, this is just a thought that I'm having. It doesn't mean that anything is going wrong, anything is bad. It just means that that's a thought that I'm having. So the more that we can kind of observe our thoughts and not necessarily take them on as who we are, the more we can start to move past them and work through the ones that are unhealthy for us. So to help us do that, this is an activity that, like I said, I use with my own clients, and I wanted to be able to share it with you as well. So to reestablish a healthier sense of self and stop overthinking, one thing that we can do is to write down that negativity label that we have. So for instance, I'm an idiot, I'm a failure, I can't do anything right, I'm socially awkward. Whatever your phrase is that you find most at the forefront of your mind most of the time. So you may have a couple, and we can definitely work through different ones at different points. But for today, I just want you to choose one. Maybe it's the one that is on your mind right now. So go ahead and write that down, or just keep it in your mind as well if you're not a writer. And then I want you to think of a more positive label that you want to change it with. So for instance, instead of I am a failure, think of a different phrase like I am an overcomer. I am somebody who is, I am successful. And then write that at the top of that page. And now what I want you to do is think of all of the times and all of the instances where that has been true, right? So if we say, I am successful, but we don't really believe that. We can't really think of evidence of that. It's not going to feel really true, and we're just kind of saying a phrase. So some people say, oh, I have a positive affirmation. I am successful, and they keep trying to repeat it to themselves, which over time that may also help. But having evidence behind it, thinking of all of the times when you've been successful in the past, can be really helpful in building that stronger foundation. Also, if you have somebody else to talk it out with, that can be really helpful. Some people choose family member or friends or their spouse, and they think of all of the times when this has been true for them. So at this time, if you have somebody that you can bounce it back with, or just you want to journal for a while and think through all of them, this is a great exercise to help you build evidence so that you can actually believe that this new thought is true. And now I want you to make that definition a part of your day. So of course, that's probably going to take a little while to write all those down. So just keep a note of it and then do it once the video is finished. But now we want to make that new definition a part of your daily life. We want you to see it as much as possible. Because remember, this thought is popping up whether you want it to or not. It's popping up throughout the day. You're not even really thinking about it, but it just kind of comes out at different times. So there are times, though, where maybe it is becoming more prominent. So for instance, a lot of times when people look at themselves in the mirror and they're like, oh, I'm such a failure, or, I'm no good, or I'm so awkward. And they begin to tear themselves down, especially when they look at themselves in the mirror. And so instead, we can reclaim that time by putting that positive label up there on the mirror. I am an overcomer. I am successful. And then that refreshes your mind of all of the evidence that you have for how that is true and for why that is true. And then you can start to believe it for yourself. Another thing that you can do while you're in the mirror is strike power poses. And this is a new fun one that I've experimented with and had other people experiment with. But it's really something that you can actually look up in different videos, but even just funny poses. Like I used to tear myself down and I started making funny faces of myself in the mirror, and it actually helped a lot to make me laugh and make me feel more lighthearted and less critical of myself. Doing funny poses like I am an overcomer, I am successful, whatever it is, and then you feel more empowered because you're even striking those poses. So really interesting, fun thing to do to add to that. But if nothing else, just having that label there and recalling to mind all of those times that you've been successful as you brush your teeth in the morning and whatnot. So I also encourage you to continue what is called an evidence journal. So journaling about it, trying to think about it each day, writing down all the times that day where you were successful, especially when you're trying to reclaim a thought that has been especially powerful and especially detrimental to your courage and for your determination to continue forward. Having an evidence journal of all the times when you've been successful or been strong can really help to focus on that, the positive and the good things that are happening. So even starting an appreciation journal if you're trying to be more grateful for what you have around you. So any kind of journaling process is going to help to remember the evidence, and then especially when you're in one of those really low states, you can actually go back to this journal, review the material, and say, wow, look at all of these times when I have been successful or been strong or done something amazing. And that can be really encouraging for us. So if this activity was really hard for you to do and maybe you don't have friends or family to bounce it off with, or you feel like it would be more appropriate to do it with a professional, then I definitely encourage you to reach out to me and we can set up some coaching or counseling sessions for you. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon to get notified when new episodes arrive every Thursday. So I'm really excited to be able to offer this kind of material to you. I don't feel like it's something that should be hidden or reserved. I feel like it's something that we really need to be more vocal about so that you can feel entitled and empowered to continue forth and know what to do to gain control of your thoughts and your mind. So if you have anything to add after watching this video and you're like, oh, I tried this and it was really helpful, or, I tried this and it worked way better than I thought, and those kind of things, if you have anything that you want to add, please add them in the comment section below, and I look forward to reading them. Thanks so much. Bye.